Today we are going to discuss about numerical functions in Tableau and how to create a numerical calculated field and how to use string functions and how to use string functions in detail we are going to see. So in previous session we have covered how to create some of the numerical functions and today we are going to see about how to create string functions. So we have discussed about round function, sine, and we have completed square root. So let's discuss about Zn function. So to discuss about Zn function, so I'll just create a data, sample data, name, employee one, employee. Yeah, in Tableau, we will have string functions and numerical functions. So let me just increase resolution. Can you do some echo is coming? So in Tableau, we will have numerical functions and string functions. So this, if you click on this, so all these are number functions. So when I say number function, number related calculations, if you want to write, you can select number and select whichever function that you want to use. So in previous examples or in previous session, we have discussed about round, sine, square root, tan and all. And now we are going to discuss about Zn. To explain about Zn, I need to have some sample data. So to handle the nulls in data, so we use Zn function. So let's create some empty data. Okay, I'll save this file. Okay, I will save this file as employee salary, and I'll connect that Excel. Yeah, so I'm getting this data. So for two employees, I have not entered any salary. So basically these are nulls. So in Tableau also you can see it has nulls. So now I'll try to take name and I'll also try to take salary. So where there are nulls, I'm not able to see anything here. So this is basically the salary that I'm showing. Okay, so this is basically the salary that I'm showing. So now let's try. So I'm just trying to increase the salary. So I will add sum of salary. So I'm just trying to provide some increment to the employees. So I'll just increase the salary to $20 for each and every employee. So I'm adding sum of salary plus 20. So incremental salary. Okay. Say okay. And now use this calculation and make it discrete. Okay. So now I have added $20 to each and every employee. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So when I have increased the salary at $20, even these nulls are have to get the $20. So basically this has to be zeros first of all. So when I add $20, this should come. So I'll tell you how to handle that null values. So we can use a function called Zn. So basically Zn is nothing but Zn function will replace nulls with zeros. Okay, so whatever calculation that you do with null values, let's say if you're adding something or if you're starting to do any multiplication or division or any type of mathematical calculation you are trying to do with null, it will give you null only. So that's the reason you have to have, instead of null, you have to have a number as 0. So then only you can write any calculation, mathematical calculation will be applied until unless you have some value. If it is null, no value will work. So without null values, salary without nulls. So to avoid null values, so I'm just using Zn function. So I'll put next to this, make it discrete, and I'll put next to this. So if you observe, so wherever there is null, I have replaced it with 0. But still this, the incremented salary is still showing the nulls. So I'll go to that calculation, the incremented salary calculation. I will edit that. So instead of sum of salary, I will use this salary without nulls. Okay, instead of salary, I'll write without nulls. So it's already aggregated in this calculation. So if you see inside calculation, it is a sum already. So doing sum again will throw you an error saying the argument to sum is already an aggregation. So you can't do 2 times sum. You can't aggregate the aggregated field. So I'm just removing that sum and say okay. Okay, so now that $20 is getting added. Okay, earlier when I try to add to the null, it is not allowing. So you can't write any mathematical calculation on top of nulls. Yeah, once you convert it to 0, then you can use, yes. So that is the use of Zn function. So there are other functions also. So there are, I'm going to tell you about 2 other functions, if null and is null. So to show that, I'll create or update a few other things. So how you can see for, so this is measure. So we have seen for measures. So how we can handle for dimensions. So I'll just enter. So this employee is from APAC. So this employee is from EMEA. And for this, I don't have any information. So let me save this file. And now let's update. Let's do a refresh. Yeah, I can see the region is coming up. So let's take name and let's take region. So you're able to see nulls here. But in while representing, I don't want to see the nulls. So in case of whenever you're using for measures, you can use Zn function. So Zn function is only for measures. You cannot use Zn function for dimensions. So for dimensions, we have a calculation called if null. So now I'll write a if null calculation. So let's create a calculation field, region without nulls. So if null region, so this is a condition like if you have nulls, what you want to show. So we can specify, yeah, condition based. So I don't want to show the null itself. Like I want to show blank. If it is null, I want to show blank. Say apply and yeah, yeah, correct. So yeah, let's say if you want to replace with NA, yeah, correct. Nulls, if you want to replace with some other region name, you can also replace that. Correct. So that is one thing. And now we'll see about is null calc. So is null is to find out whether in our data, whether we have nulls or not. Is null of region. It will find out whether in the rows is there any nulls or not. So I'll just show you this. You will understand. Yeah. So if it is null, it will give you true. If it is not null, yeah, true, false. Correct. So just to find out whether you have nulls or not. And let's try to take salary again. Salary calc. Let's try using, yeah. No, no, no. So it is to find out the null values. Is it null or not? When it is null, it will be true. If it is not null, it will be false. It is to find out the null values only. So that's the reason it is giving you true. Okay, so earlier in Zn function, we have seen that Zn is to convert nulls to 0. So Zn function usage is to convert nulls to 0. And we have another calculation which is if null. If null, this can be used for dimensions. And we can also use for measures as well. So earlier in Zn function, we have replaced nulls with 0. But in case of measures, if we use if null, we can replace with any number. With any number. Yeah, correct. Without nulls. Apply salary without nulls. So basically what I have, so this is our actual salary, which has $560. And these are the nulls which are there. And I have replaced those nulls with zeros. And if I don't, yeah. So if I want to replace nulls with $50, so if I change it to 50 and say apply, so nulls will be replaced with 50. Yeah, correct. Okay, so now let's discuss about some of the string functions. So let's go to string. So ASCII and char is to know the ASCII value of that. So let's say, yeah, so yeah. So let's see for one of the option, ASCII. So if you want to find out ASCII value for some letters, so let's just type in, say apply. So it is showing you, yeah, value will be 65. Perfect. Yeah. So this will be value. So so we don't use it much, but to know that we can also have the option to see the ASCII values. And let's talk about, so char is the opposite of this one. So if you are giving the value, so if you give the ASCII value, so it will give you the letters. Say apply. So it will give you the letter. So in case if you give 97, it will give you small letter A. So it is the opposite of ASCII value. Okay, now let's talk about contains. So to discuss about contains, we'll take customer name. So let's go to sample superstore data source. Take customer name. Okay, so now I want to filter out some of the names based on the name it contains. Let's say I want to see whether some person contains Z letter. So I want to see customer names whose names contains Z. So let's see whether I have names which contains Z. So contains, I want to take this field. In this field, I want to check whether this customer names contain Z or not. So I'll say comma, and here I will specify text to text to be checked. Okay, so I'll say apply. So I'll create it as contains. Say apply. So this will be like a Boolean function. So it will give you, it will be true when this condition satisfies. So content. It will check all the rows. Yes, all the rows. And whichever the letter Z is there, it will be true. True. In whichever customer name the Z is not present, so that value will be false. Yeah. So that way, mhm. Yeah, there are string functions. I'm going to tell you. Yeah. So this is about contains. Okay, so to find out any letters, or let's say if you want to find out some AN, if if name contains AN, you want to find out. So these many names which has AN. So yeah, so this way you can find out which has AN. And now let's talk about starts with. So I want to see the names which starts with A. So say apply. So, so these are all the names which are starting with A. So this way I can find out which are the names which are starting with A. Then if I change it to BA, or I can write some letters. So which are the names which are starting with BA? So these are all the names which are starting with BA. And now let's see the other options. Okay, so okay, contains is over and ends with. So we can talk about ends with. So I want to see the letters which are ending with E. Okay, RS. Say apply. Okay, so these are the letters, these are the names which are ending with RS. And now let's see to find. So we can also find which are the positioning of the letters. So let's say I want to find out. So same letter I will take. Find out. Find the position of RS in each and every customer name. Say apply. Okay, so if you see, there is no RS in these names. So that is why it is showing the position as 0. And now let's see. If you see in this letter, Justin Hirsch, it has RS in this. So it will count from the starting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and it is in the 10th position. Number 1. Yes, yes, correct. Okay, so that is how we can find out the position of the letters in that particular customer name and find nth. So find nth is nothing but, so there are certain letters. Let's say if I say A and say apply. Okay, so the first so it will show you the position of the first letter A. So there might be A letter might be repeating twice or thrice. So if you see, let's take, yeah, Victoria, please take up. So if you see in the 8th position, it is there. And in somewhere between 15th position or 10th position, one more A. So it is not counting the second A. Okay, by you, first one. By using find nth value, so it will find out, so we can specify the number. So if you want the second A or the first A, you can specify. Let's say you want to find out the second position. So here it is normally finding out the first position of the A, but I actually what I want is the second position of A. So say apply. So if you see here, Sanjit Chand. So in the second position, there is one A. It is not taking that position into consideration. If you see at the 10th position, there is one A. It is taking only that. So in that way, which position also you can specify. Wait. And to explain is date, so I'll just enter dates in the data. Let's enter date. So normally date has to be in a date format. So let's say 06/06/2023 is a proper date format. Let's say if I enter 40/40/2023, which is not a proper date. So Tableau won't understand this as a date. So let's save this. So let's save this file and let's refresh this one. And write a calculation is date. So it will find out whether the date is in date format or not. So I'm just writing it as a is date. Say apply. Okay, if you observe, so this is in a proper date format. So Tableau, with by using this is date calculation, it will identify that this is in a proper date format. So that is why it is giving you true. And wherever it is not in proper date format, it will give you false. So this way you can find out in all the rows, let's say in millions of records also, it can find out what all dates are in date format and what all dates are not in date format. Yeah, correct. So usually month and date should be, so month should be less than 12 and days should be less than 31, 30 or 31. Okay, so it is more than that. So that is why it is not in a proper date format. Not only this, if you enter some other values also, it will not consider that as a date. Only DDMMYY it will consider. Yeah. So now let's talk about some other string functions. Okay, so we have completed contains, ends with find length and list. So now let's discuss about left function. So let's take customer name again. For the sake of example, we'll just take customer name. Okay, so now I want to take only left side 5 letters. If I want to take left side 5 letters from customer name, I will specify that I need 5 letters from left side by using left calculation. Say okay. Okay, so this will give me the left side 5 letters. And if you, yeah, so if you consider this ln, so it is giving you 4 letters, but there is a space over here. So space is also considering as 1 letter. Yeah, so it is giving you 5 letters basically. And in the same way, let's do it for right. So there is also one function for right. So you can use right function. So which will give you right side letters. So now I want to see right side 5 letters. Okay, so it will give you from this side 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. RGMAN. So it will come from the right. Yeah. And you can also get mid values as well. So mid, somewhere in the middle of the values also you can get it. So mid. So mid, you can specify from where to where you want to start. Let's say I want to start from the third letter. And how many letters you want from the third letter? Let's say I want 3 letters or 4 letters. So let's say Aaron Bergman is there. No, I'm saying start from third. 1, 2. So it will start from R. From R, I want 4 letters. 1, R I will get, O I will get, N I will get, space also I will get. So it will be RON space. 3 is the starting point. Yes, correct. Let's say if I say 2 and yeah, small a. We'll start from small a and I want from small a, I want 4 letters. So that will be Aaron. Yeah. So now let's see. Now let's execute this one. So double click on this. Okay. So I have mentioned to start from second letter and I want 4 letters. So I'll just, so if you see up this from second letter, you get the middle values. Okay. So now let's discuss about other functions. Okay. So length is to find out the length of the string. Yeah. Length, specify that customer name, say apply and use length. Okay, so it is giving you some value, but make it average. So if you take an average, so basically it is giving you for all rows. So Aaron Bergman has some number of rows. So it is that same name might be repeating many times in the source. So this 13 is getting repeated for each and every time. So and it is doing the sum. That is the reason you are getting multiple records or wrong value. So it is better to do average in this case. So 13 is the number of letters that are there for this particular customer. Yeah. So if you see for Adam Hurt, so 448 and middle space is 9. Okay. So okay. So now if I want to convert all the letters, so let's say if I want to make a Gmail ID. So what I will do, I will do convert this into small letters. So for that, we will have a condition called lower. Yeah, correct. So if there are any capital letters in your fields, it will be converted into small letters. In the same way, we will have upper. Okay, so everything will be converted into capital letters. Yeah, uppercase. Yeah. So wherever there are small letters, those will be converted into capital letters. Okay, so this is to find out, okay, let's talk about L-trim and R-trim. So for that, we'll go to data. So in sometimes what happens is, so you'll get columns like, let's take column 1, left spaces, or just write left spaces and right spaces. And this is left and right spaces. So sometimes you might not get the proper data. When I say proper data, you might not be, so let's say you have some names, country names, let's say, let's take some city names, Hyderabad. So in data, what happens is you will get spaces in the starting. Just, yeah. So this type of spaces you will get. And sometimes you might get spaces after the names. So correct. Yeah. Yeah. So there are three functions. We'll talk about that. So Visa, so right spaces, sometimes you will get spaces after the names. Okay, and left and right spaces, sometimes you get in the prefix and suffix, you might get some spaces. So we'll just see those three functions. So let me just save this file and refresh the file that we connected to. This is the employee salary file. Okay, so left spaces. So if you observe, there are left spaces here. So I'll write a calculation, L-trim calculation, and write L-trim and use this left spaces column. Say okay. So if you observe here, so these spaces were removed from the calculation. So once I write that L-trim calculation, these spaces were removed. So you can try click on that and edit alias. See, there are spaces here. And right click on this Hyderabad and say edit alias. So you don't see any spaces towards your left side. And now let's take the R trim, take the right spaces column. So right click on this and edit alias. Cancel. Oh, it is automatically removing. Anyways, if there, yeah, so if there are any spaces like that, you can use R trim. So we just write similar way. Yeah, so you can use the same calculation if there are any spaces in after the name. So that is about R-trim. And now let's see what is the function that you need to use if you have left and right side spaces. So Tableau is automatically removing any spaces after the name. It is automatically removing, but left side spaces you need to remove manually. So there is one more function which we have, trim function. It is a combination of left and right. So it will remove both the spaces, left and right spaces. Yeah. So this will remove left and right spaces. Yeah, correct. That is about trim. Okay, so any questions till now? Okay. So we have covered these number functions, which square root, z and square we have covered. And in string functions, we have covered ASCII, char, contains, ends with, find length we have completed. Left also we have completed. Yeah, mid also we have completed. So max, min, we don't use it much for uh, strings, but let's see how we can do that. So let's take category and subcategory. We can use max of category comma subcategory. So in that, both the values, by using ASCII value, it will just find out which is the maximum one. Okay, so it will just find out. So when you compare furniture and bookcases, furniture will have the highest ASCII value. Yeah. So in this way, we can calculate min of this also. But this we don't use it much. Why? Because this doesn't make any sense. Okay, min and max we only use for measures. Okay, so this is for min, max. Okay, so now let's talk about some date functions. Okay, so date format will have lot of capabilities to do some calculations or to do some manipulations in your data. So let's just so if you observe, so you can have these many options. So if you take normal dimension, other than any other dimension that you take, so you will not have those many options as your date have. So you can just convert into, you can use it as count or something like that. But in date, you will have a lot of options. Yeah, multiple options, like you can convert it to quarter, month, day, week, week number and all. So there will be a lot of options. So we'll just talk about that. And we'll just talk about this. So there are so many functions related to date. So likewise, we have for number and string. So we will have separate functions related to date. So we'll discuss about that. So, do you remember the difference between this and this? So this is basically, if you observe, if you it is shown here also. So it is basically year and year. In this case, it is same. And quarter is different. Why? Because it is a combination of quarter and year. In the below quarter that you see here, Q2 2015. So it is a combination of year and quarter. And here it is only quarter. So if I just click on this quarter, so it will just give me Q1, Q2, Q3. But it actually have the information of all the years in this Q1. So I'll just show you what it contains. So I'll take, yeah, quarter will be 3 months. So quarter of all the years, quarter one of all the years. So will be stored in this Q1. So that is about this first quarter. So this quarter, as it is mentioned, only one Q2. So that means it is giving you only quarter information. Now let me show you about this quarter in another sheet. So take ordered year and quarter. Yeah. Yeah, correct. So let's say in Q2, what all years will be there? How many years will be there in this? In Q2, 4 years will be there. In Q3 also 4 years will be there. So basically it is Q3 of all the years, Q2 of all the years, Q1 of all the years, like this. Yeah, correct. Correct. So not only 4 years, let's say in your data, you have some 10 years of data. So this will show you Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 only. But this Q1 of all the 10 years, Q2 of all the 10 years, Q3 of all the 10 years. Okay, 1 second. Okay, let me show you this one. So you see this 2020 Q1, you understand this one? In a year, there will be 4 quarters. So in 2021 also you have 4 quarters. So you have like this. So here, what Tableau is doing is Q1 of all the years. So that it is showing you as Q1. 6 quarters. Okay. Why 6 quarters? No, we will have only 4 quarters. Hmm. 2024, you will have 4 quarters only. Why 6 quarters? Hmm. Okay. There will be only 4 quarters in every year. So if let's say if you get 2024 also, let's say we have data of 2020, 2021, 2022, 2023. What is 6? Why 6 is coming? I don't get it. Okay, okay. 4 years in 1 quarter. Okay, Okay, so order date, if I put it again, so in this quarter, I'll have 4 years. Let's say 2024 year. So in future, if I add 2024 data, so then I will have 5 years of data. In this quarter, I will have 5 years. What happens if I add 2025? 2025 data also if I add, how many years will be there in this quarter? If I add 2024, 2025 years data, how many years will be there in Q1? How many years total? So including these 4 years, I'm also adding 2024 and 2025. So which will become 6 years. Yeah. So that is how we'll add. So basically, it is a combination of. So the second one is the combination of year and quarter. So this will be only the quarter. So when I say, let's take order date here. So and take Q2. So if you see this Q1 has 2020 Q1, 2021 Q1, 2022 Q1, and 2023 Q1. So likewise, it will be there for Q2, Q3, Q4. So that is the main difference between these two. So if you take this quarter into consideration, it was taking only the quarter values. And the quarter will have combination of quarter and year. And this is about quarter. This is quarter and year. And now let's talk about month and year. So let's take this as month and let's put the order date again. And let's convert this into the second month, which is May 2015, this one. Make it as discrete. So this basically will have all the years of January. So January 2020, January 2021, January 2022. So wherever there is January, so this will have, this January will have all the years values. This February will have all the years. So you can see it here, February 2020, February 2021. So monthly basis. Yeah. So this is, it is the same process. So it is a combination of month and year. Here it is just a month. And now let's see. So now let's talk about day. So day is a combination of month and year and day. So let's make it as discrete. So earlier it is a combination of only month and year, quarter and year. But here it is day, month and year. So here if you see, so the first one will have only the day. 1, 2, 3 till 31 days will be there. So first of all, in every month, in every year, the first of every month and every year value will be stored in this one. But in the second day, what you see, you can see separate date. Day, month and year, you can see separately. So if you go till 31, so you will see 31 days. So basically this will have the only days. So basically, it will hold all the months and years, whichever has day as one. So that you can find out by keeping this into day. Mark it as discrete. Yeah. And now let's talk about week. So there are more other options, and you can show Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday as well. You can show week numbers. So how many weeks in a year? There will be 52 to 53 weeks will be there. So we can select that in the second one as well. So there you can select week number, make it discrete. So it is a combination of week number and year. Yeah, week number and year. Okay, so we will discuss about date functions tomorrow. So do you have any questions till now? Okay, then. Thank you for joining. We'll continue tomorrow.